This video is where I make a card using the 4 parameters that were chosen in this week's YouTube show called Craft Roulette. Each week on the YouTube show, they spin a wheel and come up with 4 ways that we have to use to make a card. How far will I stretch the parameters this week? Let's find out. All right. So off camera, I did a little bit of collecting supplies, we'll say. I got some ribbon that I'm going to use because of the, well, let's go over the parameters. I guess I should start there. Parameters are bookbinding card. What the heck were they? You know, every time I start this video, I think, oh, I got to bring up the parameters so I can read them off. And I don't. Ooh, let's see if I can do it by memory. Bookbinding colors are farm stand or roadside stand, something along those lines. Plant and oh, grid. Grid was the last one. I mean, I got all this stuff. You'd think I'd remember. All right, so the bookbinding, I already cut my base and I already scored it. So I have my little edge here, and I cut this ribbon and I'm going to put it behind here and tie a bow. So that's my plan for the ribbon. Then I went with the colors. So to me, a little farm stand or roadside stand is reds because of like fruit and tomatoes, and yellow. A lot of times they have sunflowers at them. And I also thought of bees because if you have fruit and things like that and flowers, you also have bees. So I did red, yellow, and black as my main colors. So then I printed out this plaid on my computer to have extra paper. And I cut them into panels to put here, like that. I'm going to ink the edges. Then the grid. So I'm going to do little images like this. I think that's how, or well, something like that. And then I'm going to use my stamps, and I'm going to stamp some flowers on the squares, my sentiment on one. I have a little beehive stamp, some bees, and then I'm going to just color them in with my ahoo-hoos. So that is the plan with the 4 parameters from this week. And yeah, I think it's gonna be a cool card. My biggest challenge, I'm gonna say right off the bat, is tying this bow where it looks good. I almost feel like I'm going to maybe I'm gonna cheat and wrap the ribbon around it and then tie a bow and stick it on with some glue. I may do that, actually. Don't tell anyone. Shh. All right, let's get started. All right, first step, I'm going to ink these edges. Kind of anxious to do the bow. I think I'm gonna do the bow. Because like I said, I think that's gonna be my hardest task for this card, is that bow. That's why I use twine a lot instead of ribbon, because I don't know, I just haven't mastered the bow tying. Oh, that looks much better. All right, should we move on to the bow? Right, I'm gonna do like this and like that, which would be nice and flat, and then put the bow. I'm gonna try it. Let's cheat. Let's cheat on the bow. Shh, don't tell anyone. Let's glue this panel down. As much as I want to do the bow, I think I'm gonna work on the panel first so that I can make sure the little bees, if you can hear my dog, she decided to come in here and start scratching. So you can hear her collar. don't understand. Every time I turn on the camera, I either have kids coming in, a husband coming in, dogs coming in, cats coming in. It's like they know. Oh, mom's busy? Let's go hang out. All right. There's that. Now, I think I'm going to do squares like this. So there are two that are bigger, and then these are a little smaller, just to give it a little interest, I guess, right? And then I'm going to stamp flowers, sentiment. I'm going to stamp this here. So I'm going to do that first. So let's do that. Let's stamp the little panels and what we want to do with them. I think I'm going to put this there, and then a bee that I have that I'm stamp and then fussy cut out. So let's do that. I don't know how well this stamp works, and I have to use, there's the big question, right? Because I find that Momentum, whatever the heck it's called, doesn't stamp as well as like VersaFine, but then I can't use alcohol markers. Decisions. Let's do scrap and see how well it stamps with this ink, because that will help me know how this is going to do. All right, that stamps pretty good on that paper anyway. All right, well, I can always cut another piece of paper, right, if it doesn't look good. Okay, let's do it. Moment of truth. All right, looks good. Let's put that over to the side to dry. So my next stamp set I'm going to use is this Unity stamp flower. I think I'm going to actually just place it. I think that's what I'm going to do. All right, let's do it. I always have the other side if I mess it up. It's a good thing about paper. It has two sides. Okay, now I don't want to smudge my fingers. Okay. It's still not very dark. Let me do that. After this dries, let's do the other. Let's do this side. Let's try that again. I feel like it needs a double stamping. Executive decision. I'm going to use my platform because it's going to need a double stamping. So let's do that. My little trick on after you've already, cut your squares or shape or whatever is to a little dot runner, just a tiny bit, nothing crazy. We'll hold it. And then I'm gonna put it, I want maybe some sideways would be fun. Yeah, let's do that. There. Okay. And ink it up. This ink, this is why it's not my favorite ink to use, but if you're gonna use, well, now that's darker, figures. Gotta use the platform. That's better, much better. Okay. Much better. So there's one panel. And then the other panel, I'm gonna wipe it. I'm gonna do different part of the flower. It's really good and clean, or it's gonna leave a mark on the paper when I place it. A little tape runner, and put it there. Okay. So now I'm going to use the top in this part. I'm going to go straight there. Okay. Clean that up. And then this panel, I'm going to put this into it. I might have to do the other side. This is not sharp at all. Ooh, but I have tape on here. Let's see. There we go. Gotta love this. Removes adhesive. Well, I think it does. Let's put this on a scrap before I waste this paper. I mean, I can always cut it again. It's a tiny piece of paper. But let's use a different ink. I bet it will. This stamp set is another one of my church surprise. Don't know where it's from. Don't know what kind of stamp it is. My guess is it's the not great kind. That's why the not great kind stamps okay with VersaFine or stays on, but Memento, yeah, I can already tell it's different. Has trouble with the cheapy stamps. Oh yeah, much better. Yeah, that's what I'll be stamping with. All right. VersaFine. Must be some hair on it, but that's all right. I'll fix it with my white gel pen. Okay, so now I got my two B's. I'm gonna use this block. Let's see how they stamp. I still want to color them in with my alcohol markers. So let's see how they stamp. Oh, they stamp good. Okay. Let's do 2 big ones and 3 little ones and start there. Okay, my stamping is done. Now it's time for coloring. Now I had said I was going to use a Hoo-Hoo's, but I'm actually going to use my Artify. I really don't need a ton of colors. So I'm just going to use this little strip to swatch them. Red. Well, let me start with the flowers. So that red, I think that's going to be my darkest. So what color do I want to do next? That's pretty. All right, so my Artify colors are going to be those 2 of the flowers. Let's color them in. some black. I'm not going to use a marker, one of the alcohol markers, because I don't want it to bleed at all. I'm just going to use this. Better. I needed a little more black. Okay, now I think these need some yellow. Yeah, it has like this extra texture. That could work. Let's try it. Just in some spots. I'm kind of trying to make it look to go along with the stamp. I think I'm going to add another yellow as well. All right, everything's colored in, and I'm going to fussy cut these out and then put the card together. All right, time to assemble my card. All right, I'm going to do the 2 bigger panels first. I'm going to put this one here, and then this one here. I'm just eyeballing the same area here and here, right? And then I'm going to put this one here. Now I'm going to line it up like that or like that. I think I'm going to go in a little. Okay. Right. You hear the dinging? That is my cat walking across my desk right off camera. There. Okay, let's do the bees. I think I'm gonna pop them. Yeah, they'll look cute popped up. Let's get some foam dots. Okay, got the backs off of all of them. I'm gonna add a little glue so that I can kind of slide them around. Let's put this one here. And put this one here. Okay. And then we'll put this little guy here. This little guy here. And then this little guy right there. There. Okay. Now we just have to add the ribbon, and I'm going to do it in the cheaty way. No one has to know, but all of you. Right? I'm going to do that. Let's see how this works out. If it doesn't work out, I know for the next time, I gotta tie a stupid bow. Okay, a little glue. And bring it over like this. Straight. Like this. Right? And then I'm going to put a block to hold it while it dries. And then I'm going to tie a bow with this piece. Let's see. I did it. Right? Cover that up. And I think maybe this way, because then the bow will stick in the card. Yay! All right, well, I gotta glue it. Let's make this a tiny bit bigger. Let's put a little glue underneath in here, right? Back here. And here comes the glue. Which means no glue came out when I was gluing this knot. All right, what side do we like better? That side? I like that side. And right over the seam we go. Except that I should have glued the binding closed before I put the bow on. Oopsie. Right there needs glue. Let's add some glue. Right. Cute. Of course I got glue there. All right, and then I'll put a white panel in here when I want to add more, you know, when I figure out who it's going to, what I want to say. That's a cute card. I'm happy with it. All right, parameter check. Book binding, right, with the bow. Grid, I have my images in a grid. I also have a plaid, which is a grid. Plant, and then the colors are farm stand. Oh, you know what? I want to put a little white there. Farm stand or roadside stand. I don't remember, but it's one of those. But I thought of plants or fruit colors, so that's where the red comes in. And there's always bees, at least in New Jersey, around my our farm stands, so I went with fruit colors and bee color. There is my finished Craft Roulette card for this week. Fun. Thanks so much for watching. Have a crafty day.